What is going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen, and this is something brand new on my channel. I am calling it Tackle Tuesday. All right, so to try to explain what Tackle Tuesday is and kind of my goals and aspirations with it is quite simple. I'm going to take Tuesdays and I'm going to dedicate them to showing you guys new tackle, favorite tackle, seasonal tackle, which is very important, and sometimes tackle that just absolutely surprises me at how good it is. So we're going to jump into that here in just a second. I've got everything set up, I hope, because this is a new one and I'm shooting it live. I'm not going to edit this. I'm just going to do this and throw it up on the channel. So this is going to be pretty cool. The very first thing I want to talk about is a bait that's new on the market. What it's called is the Missile Baits. Let me read it right. Missile Baits Ike's Micro Football Jig. Okay, and I'm going to try to give you guys a close-up of it. Let's see if this thing will focus. There we go. It's just a tiny, tiny little football jig. Look at that thing. And it's what I like about it is that it's small. Okay. And a lot of times, especially this time in the spring, you get out on those hard points and those staging areas where these bass are moving up and you got to downsize. And this little sucker right here, this is the new brother, the baby brother of the Missile Baits Micro Jig, which had a round head. So it's got a very, very light wired hook. It's got a football head to help it come through gravel and rocks better. And it's just an awesome little bait. It comes in 6 colors and 2 different weights, 1/4 ounce and 3/8. Now I'm getting all my information on Tackle Warehouse, so I'm going to leave links in the description of all these lures down at Tackle Warehouse. But you got to look at it, and this is how I decide what rods and what line and what everything else, what tackle to use with it. Is it's got this really, really fine wired hook. It's just like a crappie jig. So I'm going to fish it on a medium light or a medium action bait cat or spinning rod. I'm going to have somewhere between 8 and 10 pound test fluorocarbon, maybe 6 if I feel like I need it, if the water's super, super clear, but typically it's going to be 8 or 10. And I'm going to pair it with a tiny little trailer. What this is this one that's on it, so if I can give you guys a better look of it, is the drop crawl from Missile Baits. This is the one that John Cruz puts on his. He's the owner of Missile Baits, so he kind of told me to throw it on there. But anyway, so any kind of small little tiny trailer, not a whole lot of kick. You don't want a whole lot of action until maybe the water warms up into the high 50s. You might want to put a little bit more action trailer on there. But that is the Missile Baits Ike's Micro Football Jig. Okay, pretty cool little deal. And I know my focus is having. There we go. So pretty awesome little thing. I'm looking forward to using it this year. I've never casted it, and that's why I'm saying it's brand new on the market, and I'm excited about it. Okay, so next one. What's next on my list? Favorite colors. So I get asked this question all the time. What are my favorite this and what are my favorite that? Well, I want to talk to you about my favorite colored crankbait this time of the year. Okay, it's early spring. Water's starting to warm up for a lot of us. A lot of you guys are still got hard water, but it's coming. It's gonna get warm eventually. But my favorite colors for crankbaits, as I'm talking and trying to get them out of my tackle box. Glad I didn't turn that upside down. The lid was open. Let me pull out a few of these colors. This may surprise you a little bit. So I like, as I drop it on the floor, hold on. I like yellow. I love this school bus yellow with a little bit of a brown back this time of the year. Okay. My other favorite colors are like oranges, So something like a red orange or something like that, or just straight red, anything with red or orange. But that, I don't know what it is about that color in the pre-spawn to spawn, but it seems like it just pisses the big females off and they love to just get a hold of it. And I'm going to be throwing square bill crankbaits, and I'm going to talk about one of my favorites here in just a minute, but or flat-sided crankbaits is what I'll be throwing, whether they're square bills or not. But I want flat-sided crankbaits this time of the year. And why? That's because I want a tight wiggle. I don't want a whole lot of side-to-side action. In that cold water, they don't really react much to really wide wobbles and a lot of vibration and a lot of noise. So this is a balsa wood flat side, and it's got one little rattle you can't even hardly hear, and that's all I like. So most of my crankbaits, I'm going to throw them on a medium moderate action rod. I'm going to throw them on 10 to 12 pound test fluorocarbon. I might go up to a medium heavy moderate action rod if I get into a larger square bill, that kind of stuff. But typically I'm just gonna throw a medium moderate, and the fluorocarbon is going to be Cigar Brazex, just because I love to tear that, fish these things in really, really heavy cover and around rocks and that kind of stuff. All right, so seasonal baits. Seasonal baits are got to think about what's happening right now. Okay, so we have almost reached, or we've probably reached, the coldest the water's going to get during the winter time, and it's starting to warm up. The reason I know it's starting to warm up, I'm watching those nighttime air temperatures, and as those nighttime air temperatures get higher than the water temperature, I know that water is going to continue to rise and rise and rise. So I'm really paying attention to both of those things, and as soon as that water temperature starts to come up, that's when the bass realize it's time for pre-spawn. It's time to start moving towards those spawning areas. Some move a mile, some move 100 yards, some move 5 miles. It doesn't matter. You just got to go, and they've just got to get back there and get to their spawning places. So the seasonal bait that I love, and we're going to go to a flat side square bill, and I already showed one of them, but let me pull out my favorite color. Okay. This is the 6 Sense Crush Flat 75. I absolutely love this thing. Was made for pre-spawn fishing, and I'm going to tell you why. One, it's a flat-sided square bill, so it comes through cover, and it has that real tight wiggle. But it's the rattle on the inside. Let me see if I can get you guys to hear this. Let me get the hooks quiet. I don't even think it's metal, but it probably is. It's probably a piece of tungsten or something, but that's all. It's just a little bitty light rattle, so it doesn't make a whole lot of noise. And I have caught giants on this thing over the years. I've got one in here that is absolutely trashed. I can't find this color anymore. So if anybody from 6 Sense sees this, I want this color. Look at this. This thing has been beat up. The fish have destroyed it, and it's still catching fish. I just want more than just the one that I have. This used to be Brown-Eyed Special, but this is now, for some reason, Brown-Eyed Special on Tackle Warehouse. 2 totally different colors, and I want this one back. Anyway, there's my shameless get on my knees and grovel and beg deal for 6 Sense. But same thing. I'll throw it on a medium heavy. That's a little bit heavier crankbait. I might throw it on a medium heavy moderate, but our medium moderate would work as well. 12 to 15 pound fluorocarbon, and it's just a great springtime crankbait. It absolutely is. And I'm gonna stay with those oranges and those yellows and whatever, the craw or bluegill colors that I can find. I still don't know why this one's such a good color. All right, let me put my crankbaits up real quick and get out the next box before I make a disaster. I love these Plano boxes. They're made of a material that prevents rust. So I don't know how long they'll last, but 6 months so far, and it does. It prevents a whole lot of rust. So that's pretty neat. All right, so the next one. Seasonal. You can't go into spring without throwing one of these. I don't care what lake you're in. Chatterbait. This is a Z-Man jackhammer. And my other one that I'm going to throw a lot this year is the Strike King Thunder Cricket. Okay, so they're similar, but if you look at the blades on them, they're a lot different from the blades. But what you want in one of these is you want one where when the blade is kicking back and forth, it is hitting the head and making a little bit of noise. This one, the jackhammer is louder than this one. So if this one's not working, switch to the Thunder Cricket. And if you switch to the Thunder Cricket, then it will, you might get more bites just because it's a little bit quieter. The jackhammer comes through grass better. The Thunder Cricket is just a more subtle, quieter bait. And so these two are really good to have in your arsenal in the springtime. The jackhammer has won millions of dollars in tournaments, and the Thunder Cricket is fairly new on the market. So try them both out. They're excellent, and that's exact. I've got a whole box full of both of them. Colors I'm going to use in the spring are bluegill colors. White, if it gets really muddy, like we had a lot of rain lately, I'm going to throw straight white. Maybe a white and chartreuse, but I think straight white works a little bit better in the springtime in the mud. And then crawfish color, something like this new color from Z-Man. It's a red and green pumpkin. So I'm excited. I love catching them on a chatterbait. You're going to fish it on a medium, heavy, moderate action rod. 13 Fishing has like the chatter crank rod, which I think is the ideal action. If you can find a rod somewhere else on the market that has the same action as that, you got a really good chatterbait rod. 12, 15-pound fluorocarbon. I might go to 17 if I'm fishing a lake that's got giant fish in it, like down in Florida or like up in at Chattanooga in Chickamauga. But that's basically what I'd be doing. So chatterbait, excellent for this time of the year. Now, for the bait that surprised me. All right. So I'm sponsored by 13. I'm sponsored by 13 Baits. I did not like this. Okay. You guys know my name is the Flukemaster. This was 13 Fishing's attempt at a jerk bait. All right. I'm going to rag on them just a little bit. Okay. This is what it looks like. Throwing this thing, it is not a jerk bait. All it does is it goes and falls back down and jerks up and falls back down. But on the fall, you get a lot of kick and you do get bit. I have caught fish on this jerking it around, but it just doesn't have the action that I like in a soft jerk bait. So I had them in my kayak last week or week before last when I was down in Florida, and I ran out of my favorite trailer. I only brought one pack of what's the paddle tail? Strike King Rage Swimmers. I only had one pack, the color and the flavor that I wanted. And so, and I went through those pretty quick because I was slaying them. So I was looking around my kayak and I didn't have a whole lot of tackle. And I had a box of these, or a package of these. And they come, 5 to a package. And I pulled it out, started looking at it. It's really, really tough, soft plastic. I was like, man, that might be a pretty good trailer. So I put it on my chatterbait. And I proceeded to put a smash on these dang bait, on these fish. I mean, I was catching them with the paddle tail, but I mean, it was like one after another, and giants when I threw this thing on. And I'm like, it can't be the trailer. Why in the world would it be the trailer? Maybe I moved 10 feet over to the right while I was tying on or putting a new bait on or whatever. I don't know. But this thing is an excellent trailer for not only a chatterbait, for a swim jig, for a spinnerbait. And I'm going to tell you why it's good for a chatterbait is your paddle tail, the blade on the chatterbait steals the water from your paddle tail. So you don't get the kick on the tail. It just kind of flops behind no matter what paddle tail it is, no matter what direction you put the tail. It still kicks, just kind of flops around behind it. Well, this one, for some reason, because the blade's moving this way and these tails want to go up and down, it doesn't steal it quite so bad. So you get a lot more action with that tail. But absolutely impressed and surprised that was actually a good trailer. So there's a reason to keep it in my tackle box. I was just going to leave it hanging on my wall in my barn and not worry about it. But I'm going to have those in my tackle box when I need to and use them when I need a trailer. They're only $5.99 a pack on Tackle Warehouse. But man, that was, I don't know. I was just surprised. That's all I got to say. But that is my Tackle Tuesday video. That's kind of what I'm going to do every single week is I want to pull out 5 or 6, baits that are seasonal, that are favorites, that are surprising to me. that are new on the market, and just show and introduce that stuff to you. I'm going to leave links down in the description to my affiliate link to Tackle Warehouse. If you click on those links and go there, then I get a portion of the sale, a small little stipend, I guess, but it still helps my channel. But like I always say, guys, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go out and catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see you.